What if your most impactful investment wasn't, in a stock or a mutual fund, but in something far more personal?
Something closer to home.
Exactly, your own life. We often chase wealth like it's the ultimate destination, right?
The end goal.
But today, we're kind of flipping that script. We're exploring a really powerful book that shows you how to build a life so rich, so fulfilling, that money just becomes a tool.
A tool to support that life, not the goal itself.
Precisely. We're diving into Invest in Yourself: Six Secrets to a Rich Life by Mark Eisenson, Jerry Detweiler, and Nancy Castleman.
And it's not your typical finance book, is it?
Not at all. It's more like a practical blueprint
Right.
for designing a life you actually love, one that's aligned with your deepest values.
And then making sure your finances serve that bigger vision.
Yeah.
And that's really what makes this deep dive so interesting. The authors put it so well. They say, yourself is the most powerful financial asset you'll ever have.
That quote really stuck with me.
It's profound, right?
Yeah.
It suggests this isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet.
No.
It's more like embarking on a journey, rediscovering your own power, figuring out what truly matters to you.
And then building a life where all your resources, your time, your energy, your money work together for your well-being.
Yeah, it really sets the stage for like a personal transformation.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Imagine a life where you're not just sort of reacting all the time.
Being proactive.
Yeah, actively designing your own destiny. The book kicks off with Secret One: make your own lifestyle decisions.
Okay.
And this one, it really challenges you to reject society's default definitions of success. The usual stuff.
The big house, the fancy car.
Right. Instead of just following that path, it encourages you to pause, really reflect, and catalog what genuinely matters to you.
So like where you live or the kind of work you do.
Exactly. Or your community, your spiritual life, whatever it is. The core idea is aligning every choice with your deepest values.
Makes sense.
And the book shares this great story and anecdote about a corporate employee. Seemed like they had it all. High-paying job, prestige.
The perceived dream.
Yeah, but they walked away from it, chose a simpler life on a homestead.
Wow. Big change.
Huge change. And the result: more joy, more actual control over their time, and this, deep sense of peace.
That really speaks to the power of choosing your own path, doesn't it? Even when everyone else is pushing you one way.
Totally. It makes you ask, where do you truly want to live? Why? How could you start designing your ideal lifestyle backward from that vision?
And what I found interesting there was the book's focus on low-risk trial runs.
Oh, right. Tell us about that.
Well, they suggest trying out these big life shifts in smaller ways first, like through specific vacations that mimic the lifestyle or a short sabbatical, maybe volunteer work.
Sort of like test driving your dreams.
Exactly. We test drive cars. Why not test drive life changes? It makes those huge design choices feel less daunting, more tangible.
It's a really practical takeaway. And this whole idea of valuing yourself, it naturally extends to relationships, right?
Absolutely. Which brings us nicely to Secret 2.
Which is, put your family first.
This isn't just about climbing the career ladder or getting bigger paychecks.
No, it's about redefining success itself. Thinking about it as quality time with your family.
The book frames these relationships as your richest investments.
Yeah, shifting that perspective. So family time isn't just leftover time, it's your most precious asset.
A finite currency, as you said. Something you need to actively invest.
And the authors get really practical here. They talk about making the most of your time.
With techniques like time auditing.
Yeah, like keeping sleep logs or something they call time blanking.
Time blanking, what's that?
It's basically scheduling empty blocks in your calendar intentionally to prevent overcommitment, create space for spontaneity, for those valuable, unplanned moments.
Ah, I see. So you're not just reacting to demands.
Exactly. It makes you think about the hidden emotional cost of always being on or having no buffer.
That makes sense.
Then there's this story, the great sneaker debate. It's so relatable. It's about impulse purchases. Those flashy new things like sneakers that give you a quick hit of joy?
But maybe don't align with deeper goals.
Precisely. They subtly undermine your true priorities. It really highlights that emotional tug of war between fleeting desires and lasting fulfillment.
We've all been there.
Totally. And they also share a powerful story in Paradise Found, someone downsizing their life.
Not out of necessity, though.
No, for freedom, for fulfillment. reinforcing that living richly isn't necessarily tied to having a huge budget.
It's about alignment.
Right. So for you listening, take a look at your calendar. Does it really reflect your true priorities? Are you consciously investing that finite currency of time in the people you love?
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, this secret
Hmm.
really hammers home the emotional ROI of family time.
Emotional ROI. I like that.
Yeah, the book argues compellingly that a rich life isn't about accumulating stuff. It's about enriching relationships. It really pushes you to rethink how you define worth.
Urging us to consciously allocate time and energy toward people, not just pursuits or possessions.
Exactly. It's a strong counterpoint to the constant hustle, isn't it?
Definitely. So speaking of value, how much is actually enough?
The big question.
This next secret 3, might really shift how you think about ambition. It's how much is enough?
Okay,
This introduces a really pivotal idea, the enough point.
the enough point.
Yeah, that specific income level where honestly earning more doesn't really add much to your happiness or fulfillment.
So it's about getting off the hamster wheel.
Pretty much.
Right.
Freeing yourself from that endless, often exhausting chase for more. The book actually says most people are working more to spend more, not to live better.
Oof, that hits home.
Doesn't it? It challenges that relentless pursuit. And the practical tip is to actually do the exercise. Figure out your number.
The number that genuinely gives you peace, not just more things to manage.
Exactly.
And what's fascinating here is how directly this confronts that societal pressure, the constant push to accumulate.
Right. More is always better, supposedly.
But the book suggests the real hurdle isn't finding the number.
It's trusting it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Trusting that enough is enough. This really paves the way for a freedom over statuses mindset.
Which lets you use your money and energy much more smartly.
Right. It's not anti-ambition. It's about redirecting ambition intentionally.
That's a really key distinction. So the quest for enough doesn't mean stagnation. It means redirecting, which leads nicely into secret 4. Wherever you work, be in business for yourself.
The entrepreneurial mindset, even within a job.
Yes, it encourages you to see your job, whatever it is, as your own little enterprise.
Taking ownership.
Right, which leads to much greater leverage and opportunity, even if you're an employee.
How does that play out practically?
Well, the book shares a story of a woman who didn't quit her job. Instead, she proactively negotiated for flex time, a remote setup.
So she redesigned her role within the company.
Exactly. A fantastic example of adapting your situation for a better fit without leaving.
That takes initiative.
It does. And the authors outline strategies for this, like freeing the entrepreneur inside you,
Which is about.
trying low-risk side gigs,
Mm.
consulting, freelancing, micro-businesses, ways to experiment professionally without betting the farm.
Testing the waters.
Then there's work is where the perks are.
Hmm.
This reframes benefits remote work, training, development as valuable currency.
Things you can negotiate for, making you more of an active stakeholder.
Precisely, not just a passive employee. And finally, deal yourself an ace in the hole.
Which sounds intriguing.
It's about strategically building your career capital. Specialized skills, your network, your reputation, things that give you real leverage and options.
Creating choices for yourself.
Yeah. So the question for you listening is, how can you start building that career capital? How can you view your current role more like your own enterprise?
This secret really touches on personal agency, doesn't it? It shows how yourself is your greatest asset, even in a traditional job.
Yeah.
The book gives clear pointers on designing a work life that aligns with your values, providing both stability and a sense of autonomy.
Taking control of your professional path, not just letting it happen to you.
Right. And it's often not about massive changes, but those small, consistent efforts to take more ownership.
Okay. So we've looked at designing your life, redefining work. Now let's talk money management, but maybe not in the way people usually think about it.
How so?
Well, secret 5 is make the most of the money you bring home. This is where the power of small, consistent changes really shines.
Okay.
It repositions everyday financial choices, spending, saving, managing little expenses, seeing them not as chores, but as high-return opportunities.
I return how?
By cultivating resourcefulness, finding satisfaction, even joy in being intentionally efficient with your money.
Interesting framing.
The book really emphasizes small change makes a big difference. They use stories, stats,
Yeah.
showing how minor regular savings add up.
Like packing a lunch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Packing your lunch consistently, bundling errands to save gas and time. these things accumulate into real financial freedom and flexibility over time.
It's not about deprivation then.
Not at all. It's about smart choices. And they even have a section called penny pinching for fun and profit.
Fun, Kenny pinching.
Yeah, it rebrands frugality, makes it creative, social. Think garage sales as treasure hunts, DIY swaps with friends, community sharing.
So making saving feel collaborative and enjoyable, not painful.
Right.
What's really insightful there is the focus on how small wins compound.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about cutting out all joy. It's about intentional efficiency, cultivating habits that steadily build wealth and freedom.
Like building a muscle.
Exactly. It reminds me of that saying, small hinges swing big doors. Those seemingly tiny daily financial choices can, over time, open up huge opportunities and give you greater peace of mind.
That's a fantastic analogy. Okay, and what if those big financial burdens like debts could actually be turned into opportunities?
Now that sounds counterintuitive.
It does, but that's secret 6. Turn your debts into golden investment opportunities.
Golden investment opportunities. Debts.
Yeah, it's a brilliant reframing. It recasts paying down debt. It's not just getting rid of a negative, it's a guaranteed investment.
How so? Guaranteed.
Because you get an immediate risk-free return simply by not paying interest anymore. Every dollar of interest saved is a dollar you didn't have to earn.
Ah, I see. The return is the interest you avoid paying.
Exactly. The book frames it as a strategic move towards freedom, a proactive step, not just dealing with a burden.
Okay, that makes sense. What kind of strategies do they suggest?
They get very practical in the section Invest in Your Debts. They discuss things like the snowball versus avalanche methods for paying things down,
Right, common approaches.
and negotiating rates on credit cards, student loans. Then there's Your Future is Not in Plastics,
Which argues for?
moving strategically from credit back towards cash-based living to regain control, reduce stress.
Makes sense for some situations.
They also cover Your Mortgage is a Great Investment, explaining how those payments build equity and long-term wealth.
Reframing homeownership as a tool.
Yes, and even Driving a Winner, advising you to look at the total cost of owning a vehicle, depreciation, maintenance, not just the sticker price.
Making sure your car is a smart asset, not just draining your wallet.
Exactly. So think about it. Every dollar saved in interest is a dollar you don't have to earn back. How could you start seeing debt reduction not as a chore, but as a higher return investment in your future self?
That really prompts a mindset shift, doesn't it? How do we move from seeing debt only as a burden to seeing it as this clear opportunity for a guaranteed return?
Yeah.
This secret really drives home that idea of debt as an anti-investment. By systematically killing off those interest payments, you're locking in a return that's incredibly powerful compared to the risks of, say, the stock market.
Taking back control dollar by dollar.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've walked through these 6 powerful secrets. Designing your lifestyle, putting family first, finding enough, being entrepreneurial, making the most of your money, and tackling debt.
That's a lot.
It is. But how do they all fit together? How do you create that cohesive, values-aligned life the book talks about?
Right, connecting the dots.
This is where the book really brings it home in the final chapter.
Absolutely. It synthesizes everything into a really holistic view.
Yeah.
For instance, chapters like controlling college costs.
Important for many people.
Definitely. It gives strategies, scholarships, grants, smart planning to handle higher education costs without wrecking your financial health.
Good. What else?
Then map out your own financial future. And this isn't just about a rigid budget.
No.
No, it's about crafting a dynamic vision for your life, one that integrates your deepest values with aligned money habits. It's an agile blueprint covering retirement, insurance, kids' education, your lifestyle, all together.
It's an agile blueprint. I like that. Flexible but intentional.
Exactly. And finally, financial planning made easy. This breaks down how to actually implement the plan.
Making it practical.
Yes. Setting clear goals, building contingency reserves, tracking milestones, making it feel accessible, not overwhelming.
That's key.
And if you connect all this back to the big picture, the book's ultimate message seems to be about designing a life you don't need to escape from.
Say more about that.
It's about retiring into your daily life, enjoying it now, rather than just grinding away for some far-off retirement date that might never come or might not be what you expect.
So you're directing your life actively, not just reacting.
Exactly. Using clear, values-aligned financial planning that truly supports yourself.
It really comes back to building your personal self-portfolio, doesn't it?
That's a great way to put it.
So for you listening right now, maybe take a second to consider those elements we talked about. Career design. quality time with family, your ideal location,
Yeah.
your personal enough point, education plans, your daily money habits.
That whole checklist.
Yeah. Just pause and reflect.
Hmm.
Which of those areas resonates most strongly with you right now? Which one feels like the most powerful next step for your deep dive into a richer life?
A life aligned with your values.
Absolutely. This whole deep dive into invest in yourself, it just keeps reinforcing that core message.
Hmm.
You are already your biggest asset, your most valuable resource.
Hmm.
The only question left is, are you truly managing it like one?
That's the challenge.
And this isn't just about, reading a book. It's about living it, actively building that self-funded life where abundance isn't just about net worth on paper.
But about the richness of alignment,
Exactly. Alignment with who you truly want to be.
which I think leaves us with a final important question to ponder.
Okay.
What small, consistent investment in yourself in line with these secrets could you make starting this week? Something small that could compound into significant freedom and fulfillment a year or even sooner down the road.
That's a great thought to end on. What's one small step you can take? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep investing in your amazing self.